means if I didn't know.
Man, the defeated communists?
Smart ass, turn around. Watch your head, punk.
Hey, these are too tight. I got some rights.
Oh yeah, I should have thought that before you infringed on somebody else's right, kid.
You're a fascist.
I fought the fascists so you can be free, punk.
Big deal.
I'll show you big deal, punk. Suck my nightstick.
So one thing about this pandemic is that I've become addicted to pork rinds, specifically El Sabroso pork cracklins. Oh, and we were just listening to White Flag there. That's a song called Shattered Badge, and it's on an album called Copulation, the Sounds of Hollywood series by Mystic Records. It came out in 1984, and it's all about punk rock bands hating on cops. There's some great stuff in there from The Mentors, a band from Seattle that moved to L.A., Black Flag, White Flag, Government Issue, The Authorities, Sado Nation, that band from Portland that actually had a human female in the group, Dr. No, Crankshaft, The Grimm, America's Hardcore. They're all on this great album, and it kind of fits with the times. I was a little late to the punk rock thing. I'm a little too young for that. The first punk album I owned was the Repo Man soundtrack, right? Which is actually great for what it is. Circle jerks on there and stuff. But one of the earliest albums I bought just at random was Copulation. You know, I saw it in the record store and I was like, oh, I hate cops. And so I bought this album, and the music is really good. People think of punk as, oh, it's the same three chords and they can't play their instruments. No, this stuff rocks. Now, luckily, in my research of Mystic Records, I found Doug Moody. He's a guy that's in his 90s now. He was the owner of the record label. And his friend Philco was the engineer and producer on most of this music, on Copulation and of all the Mystic Records catalog. And he lives in Olympia now, and I dug him up. And it's awesome because we're going to do an interview with him. So strap up your bootstraps, get out your nightsticks, and let's dive into Copulation. Hello, we have a special guest to talk about Mystic Records and Copulation, and that would be Philco Raves.
Yeah, all day.
I did a little introduction where I talked about how much I loved this album, Copulation, which is a compilation of a bunch of Southern California punk bands, I guess you could say, and then we could categorize that as nardcore. Is that correct?
Well, I wouldn't categorize this particular record as nardcore. There's some Oxnard bands on it, but it's just kind of all over Hollywood. I think maybe some Orange County bands even in there.
Okay, and then there's a skateboarding element to this. You said people would show up with their skateboards, and that's how you knew these two subcultures were connected somehow, or go up to the studio with their skateboards?
Yeah, there was a lot of that. It was kind of a subgenre of music that I think Doug termed as thrash music, which was basically like, with a skateboarding element to it. A lot of everybody skateboarded back in the day.
Okay, yeah, Southern California.
Yeah.
And Oxnard, that's an odd area. It's like north of San Diego, but not...
it encompasses the beach areas as well.
Okay. That shows what I know.
Ventura County and that whole area.
I guess you were very young when you were... So Doug Moody is the owner of the label Mystic Records. So the Doug you refer to. And you were basically the producer / engineer for him, doing a lot of these bands and a lot of the work on this album, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I told you when we talked yesterday that I would dig the record up and give it a listen and everything. And as it turns out, I don't actually have one.
Okay.
I thought I did, but I don't. So I've been listening on YouTube.
Yeah, that's where I rediscovered it. I have a cassette somewhere, and It's interesting. You said you did some, the punk rock DIY spirit here. You actually designed some of the album art for this stuff too.
Yeah, I did most of the record covers for the records that came out back then. It was pretty much all old school with, letra set. You'd
Sure.
rub the letters and numbers and stuff off with a little tool, and cutting out ruby lith and amber lith to block out. That's
Using
the
a
way it was done
stat
back then.
camera and this is before computers.
This
So
was pretty much
we're like,
before
what are you
computers.
talking about? Press
Yeah,
on letraset. What's that?
yeah.
Did you do the copulation cover?
No, I did some of the
No, okay.
layout, some of the
Right.
graphic work, but I think the photo is by Ed Culver, and it was a photograph of a riot outside one of the clubs.
Right.
I don't really know which club or which show it was, but
And then you said there's a police tape was wrapped around inside the record. That was one of the fun things that you guys did, or
yeah, it was like the police line do not cross.
right.
We see those around murder scenes and stuff like that. We purchased some rolls of that and sat up one night and just cut and taped them onto the front of every record. I don't know how many records made it in the store with that actually intact on there, but
That's super creative and awesome.
yeah,
Before I get carried away here, I do want to mention this is an album about how much the punks hate cops.
pretty much,
and
yeah.
so that's, one of the reasons I thought I'd revisit this is our current, horrible situation in that department. But
It's
from
trending.
is trending. The I hate cops is trending and whatnot. Um, so I'm guessing this is based on real life experience. This is not a fantasy that these guys in these bands have. They're actually getting roughed up by cops. Is that correct?
Yeah, it happened a lot. Back in the 80s, it was kind of an odd time.
Yeah.
Hollywood, pretty much the streets, were run by punks.
Nice.
They were everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
it was totally inundated with punk rockers everywhere, and those police, harassing all the time, and breaking up shows at different clubs.
Yeah.
It was quite commonplace back then.
Some of the songs on this album have little interludes where there's just spoken word talking about experiences and like, hey punk, get your hands up. What's that shirt say? As if I
Yeah.
didn't know. And then the punk is like, millions of defeated communists, and right, they're referring to the MDC.
Right.
But I don't know, this stuff, it seems more influential than people give credit for. I know my teenage boy for a while was into skateboarding. He's kind of moved on, but
Mm-hmm.
these kids today, they're listening to the same stuff. They're listening to MDC and, well, Black Flag, obviously, and
Sure.
even some of these bands you would not have heard of. So I also think, I'm not a musician, but just a fan, but there is some, I think you said, Doug mentioned thrash. There's some metal here. There's some really good guitar solos. One of the solos, I think it's Flashing Reds, by The Stain has this solo. And I'm hearing Slash from Guns N' Roses in that, like the same guitar tuning or something. And wondering, I'm guessing Slash would have been someone absolutely who had heard this album, right? And maybe got
That's
something from it.
possible. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, there's so many bands on this album. I'm not sure how we could cover them all. I
Yeah,
like Flashing Reds by The Stain.
Yeah, I'm looking that up. I'm like I said, I haven't actually listened to this record probably in 35 years. Today was the first time, and it's actually not a bad record.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to it in a long time, but.
And so you're in there with these, basically a bunch of kids in the studio. It's a 16-track studio, Mystic Records.
16-track 2-inch.
And I think you explained the business plan to me, because some people online will complain about Doug, like they would complain about any record industry person that they perceive as taking advantage of them. But you'd print 1,000 records and the bands would get 100, but you didn't charge for studio time.
I think essentially the deal was that the bands would get 10%, of the records pressed. There was no, we didn't charge for studio time. There was no studio time that needed to be accounted for. It was just like a flat deal. Come in, record, and we put the record out, and you get 10% of the record if it was your band's record. So if we pressed 1,000, you get 100. At $8 a piece, that's $800, I guess, and
they can sell at their shows, or
that's from record one. There was no recouping of investments or anything like that. It was just flat out.
Did any of this Mystic stuff ever get licensed for later on for movies or anything like that? Was there any?
I don't think so. There was one movie that a lot of this stuff was in. Was a movie called The Video, which we did the soundtrack for, which was a Joan Jett movie.
Oh, okay.
That was, I guess I ran out of financing, and it was taken over by the studio where they were doing the work at, called Gomillion Studios.
Okay.
And so it just sat there floundering, unfinished, and they pulled in a guy named Alan Sachs to try and do something with it and finish it. It ended up being a movie called The Video, which really had nothing to do with Joan Jett.
Okay.
But it had El Duce and Texas Horseheads. And, a lot of people were actually.
Oh, Tex and the Horseheads. That's a great unknown. Yeah. Love the country punk or punkabilly. Yeah.
Sure.
As long as we're talking about Il Duce, for our listeners, that's from a band called The Mentors, which is really an early Seattle punk band, the very small Seattle scene, and then they moved to L.A. Did you record that cut? The
Police Hotel on the album?
Police Hotel, yeah.
I don't know if I'm listed as the engineer, but I was definitely there, and I was pushing buttons and pulling knobs. And
that's actually, these are all really short songs, and Police Hotel is almost 5 minutes long, and it's just all over the place. Little interludes and solos and spoken word. And
I was just listening to it this morning, refreshing my memory.
Okay,
and actually, it didn't come out too bad. That was a fun song.
I know we mentioned in our pre-interview that I was thinking that Gigi Allen was probably a fan of the Mentors, because the Mentors are just like Gigi Allen, but without the pooping on stage.
Usually without the pooping.
And so this Il Duce guy was there's some troubling. They saw rape rock and stuff. They're trying to be as controversial as possible, right? And to press all the buttons.
I don't think it's anything that would ever have been released today.
But none of this stuff. I mean, the song "I Hate Cops" by The Authorities. Can you imagine DJ Danny Bonaducci, Seattle, Cairo Radio, and now "I Hate Cops" by The Authorities.
Right.
I hate cops.
So Il Duce, and then he had a tragic end where he killed himself on the railroad tracks.
That's what I hear.
Right after being interviewed by Nick Broomfield for the Curtin Courtney conspiracy movie, right? Days later, he killed himself.
Right. The last time I saw Il Duce, I was driving through Hollywood, and he was standing on the corner of Hollywood and Vine with his pants down around his ankle. And I was going to pull over and say, "Hey, what's going on?" But I didn't, and that was the last time I heard of him. Yeah, it's not too long after that.
Has some drug and alcohol problems.
Yeah, mostly alcohol, but pretty much whatever came his way, I think.
That's what'll kill you.
Yeah.
Actually, there is some mention of, I don't know which song it is, but they're like, "We're doing nothing wrong. We're only shooting up." And along comes a cop and says, "Put him up." I'm thinking,
right.
Okay, there was definitely some heroin during the punk scene for sure.
We're only shooting up, and along comes a cop. They say, "Put him up."
Unfortunate, but
yeah, there was everything you could imagine was going around. It was mayhem.
that sounds fun. The 80s in LA sound fun.
Oh, the 80s in Hollywood were amazing.
Yeah.
I loved that. I mean, I lived in the recording studio for almost 10 years, I think.
Right.
Actually, it was on the corner of Selma and Vine, which is a block south of Hollywood and Vine, and it's now a metro rail station.
Oh, lame.
That studio originally was actually, well, yeah, it was a label, and I'm trying to think what the name of the label was. And I'm having.
It's fine. Now, Doug Moody is an old school music guy. He's still alive. I emailed him and didn't hear back, but he's in his 90s.
He's in his 90s, yeah.
And Mystic Records, that doesn't sound too punk. That almost sounds old school, like the old days. Like it was
like 60s kind of.
Yeah,
right.
Parliament.
Well, I mean, the label, officially has been around, since I think the mid 60s, but didn't do much and didn't really start doing any punk until I arrived there in like 1981 or so. I remember the first things that were going on when I got there. I think there was Vox Pop was being recorded. I think Angry Samoans, or a few of the things that were going on when I first got there. But they weren't. It wasn't by any means a punk label.
And does Doug had a genuine interest in punk? I mean, it's not really. He's not making a fortune doing this. There must have been some love of the scene or something.
Yeah, Doug's kind of an odd bird. He really was really into just the energy and the power of the music. I mean, he's been around. He recorded, way back earlier. You know what? I got to stop this right now. Can we do this a little bit later?
Oh, sure.
We'll be right back after this message.
So we're back from our commercial break. And just to get up to speed, we're talking with Philco Raves. He's a producer, an engineer, and a sound guy. And after punk rock, you went on, you're now do sound mixing for some bands, but also for television and movies and stuff?
Yeah, I do post-production sound for films and television. I work out of my home. I have a studio in my home in Olympia, Washington. And I just get the elements over the internet, and I do my thing, and I send it back, which is fortunate to be able to do these days.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also to get up to speed, we're talking about Copulation. It's from Mystic Records. This is an album full of punk thrash bands singing about how they hate cops. And I think when we last left, we were talking about Doug Moody, the illustrious owner of this label. It's still very much a DIY thing. You said you were laying out album covers and you're just in there, maybe not even getting a salary, just getting paid in beer sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, we all ate. We ate well and we drank beer. And I would get, much the same kind of deal as the bands would get. I got records and I'd run around to record stores and sell them for cash. So I had walking around money. Nobody got rich off of Mystic, I can tell you that.
But Doug Moody was, I guess his parents were in the music industry. I read somewhere his dad worked at EMI Studios in London at Abbey Road.
Yeah, he did. He did.
And then Doug was involved in, you said, in the music business from the 50s onward. So he was the old guy, maybe the only person over the age of 20. I don't know.
Yeah, I was over the age of 20. Most of the band teams, I was slightly older than most people in the bands.
Okay, sure. But it's a young group of, a lot of them are skate punks. In the spirit of punk rock, my podcast is kind of half-assed. I never do an actual script. At the most, I do outlines. So we can just jump around and talk about stuff that we come up with.
Sure.
Yeah. And so,
I'm not the world's greatest public speaker, just so you know.
That's fine. No, this is great. This is great information. And I can pump you for information, as they say.
Sure.
Maybe we could go... Again, the music on this album is surprisingly good.
Yeah.
And I think very influential for, I know it's hard to keep track once you get older, but maybe even Green Day and some of these bands that made it big were influenced by this style of music.
Quite possible. I really don't
yeah.
know much about the origins of Green Day and who their influences were. I know they're a San Francisco band, and I know they
Right.
had
Okay. Yeah.
some manner of relationship with NoFX, who moved to San
Right.
Francisco late 80s.
And they had some Mystic stuff.
Yeah, NoFX, we did, I think, I recorded several songs for compilations, and I recorded two 7-inch EPs that later got turned into an album and have been released in various shapes, sizes, and colors.
Yeah.
You know, collectible stuff. That Doug likes to make collectible records, and so he mixes it up quite a bit.
Right. Now, he was the first to do the Super 7-inch, or one of the first.
Do you mean like a 7-inch EP?
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
if he was one of the first or not.
Cut that part out. But he did colored vinyl or different interesting things, or
Yeah,
yeah.
it was important for him and us to make the records as collectible as possible. We did a lot of signed and numbered colored vinyl releases and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Shaped records, or some records in the shape of hearts and different things.
I think the Sub Pop guys definitely saw your stuff and were influenced to do the same thing later on.
That could be.
Because
Don't know any of that.
They did a lot of that limited colored vinyl and stuff like that.
Sure.
If I think of some of the bands that I like on this album,
I was just listening
Crankshaft.
to it for the first
Good.
day. I don't know how long, 30, 35 years or so. And I really still like the NoFX piece, Egomaniac.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
First song on side A.
Yeah, Egomaniac. I'm Taking Over by Worm.
Yeah.
Good one. Forget it, pig. This is it. I'm taking over. I'm going to get you. It's just like, I wanted to ask about Crankshaft.
Yeah, I recorded Crankshaft on several occasions.
Yeah.
Lino Lousy, the singer of the band, is no longer with us. Rest in peace. I think he died. He died in prison.
I was going to ask that. I saw he's in prison for life, is what I found, but he passed away, huh?
Yeah, I heard he passed.
And was he in for a murder rap, or what?
You know what? Probably, if he was in for life, I do not know, honestly.
Yeah.
I never really heard that what he was in for. I would assume if he's in for life, something like that.
And then I don't know if I asked you this. Was Copulation just you gathered up stuff that had already been recorded about cops and put it together, or
gathered up? I mean, we do. Going through all the music and recording and stuff, we start to notice a trend.
Sure.
And I noticed that there was a lot of bands writing songs about cops.
Yes.
And I came up with the name Copulation. And how we used to do things is we'd have bands come in for a session, and we'd be working on 5, 6, 7 different compilations at a time. And what we do is we have them record songs for any of the compilations that they could do. And they come in and do a song for Covers and Copulation and several other compilations at the same time. That worked out well for us. We're kind of a factory.
Sure.
Started putting music out and stuff. We were kind of like the Henry Ford of punk rock.
Yeah, and then others would come after you. Yeah, and Sub Pop, they had enormous success because they owned the rights to the Bleach album by Nirvana, and then they got points on Nevermind, from what I understand. So everyone did well. But just the music business is so weird.
It's hit and miss. You never know. Like Doug used to say, we're going to throw a bunch of mud against the wall and see what sticks.
Yes.
NoFX got big, but not while they were on our list.
They got like Bad Religion big, right? But not massive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you can make a living as an artist in this society, good on you. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, man. It's not
And
an easy
especially,
thing to do.
punk was underground at this time when you're recording this stuff. This was not, no one
Yeah,
knew about this except
it
the
was
cool.
not mainstream by any stretch
No.
of the imagination. No.
Although Mystic lasted from 1980 to 1990, right? Or at least your time there.
I was with Mystic from 1980 to 1990. I got married in 1990, and
Right.
yeah, the whole Mystic lifestyle wasn't really conducive to being married and having kids and stuff. So that's when I transitioned into doing sound for film and post-production sound for film.
When did you move up to Olympia?
15 or so
Oh.
years ago.
Okay.
When my kids were young, I just
Yeah.
LA just such a difficult place to live. Everything is so expensive. You can't get around. You can't, you
Yeah.
can't find a place to park. It just got to be too complicated and too expensive. And I didn't think it was the best place in the world to raise my two daughters.
Good. Yeah. And then Olympia, like you don't even need a car, maybe. It's like
No,
whole different.
one of my daughters, who's 27 now, doesn't have a car.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Oh, so the kids are grown.
Stuff now,
Yeah.
She's not even interested in having a car. In my day, I mean, you couldn't wait till you were 16 to
Yeah, of course.
have a car and take off. But now it's not such a big thing anymore.
Yeah, I know they always say, "Oh, there's this great restaurant in LA. It's in a strip mall, hidden away." And I'm like, everything in LA is a fucking strip mall. Come on.
Yeah. It's horrifying.
We're there.
I love LA. Don't get me wrong. It's my home.
Yeah.
I bleed Dodger,
wild.
but it's not a place that I want to live. And, especially now, it's getting hotter, it seems. It's just always so hot. It's unbearable for me. I can't deal with that anymore.
Yeah, well, Olympia and Seattle, we have like no humidity and beautiful weather. If you like kind of the misty rain in the winter.
I love it up here.
Yeah.
I love it up here. I couldn't see ever really living anywhere else, honestly.
Yeah. Anyone from Olympia, the music scene there that you know of, or you're pretty low key? You're not out going to shows or anything like that?
No, I don't do a lot of going to shows. There are some bands, some people that I produce that I work with. There's a band here called Mudcat.
Oh, okay.
Who is they're like bootlegger blues. Daniel McKinstry, who's the leader of the band and sings and plays guitars, he's a luthier. He goes out into the woods and digs up 800-year-old cedar trees that have been buried. He digs them up and he takes them and he cures them and he makes guitars, all manner of instruments from one solid block of wood, and does amazing things.
That's a great thing. You could actually make a living. I have a friend named Mark Geiger. He does Geiger guitars, and it's the same thing. He builds one guitar. Well, he does some repair work and restoration, but he builds like one amazing guitar at a time, sometimes for clients. And then, they're paying him $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever.
Yeah. That's about around what Daniel gets for his guitars. He's got several going. He has a tree out in his front yard, and any given time during the summer, you could drive by and see a lot of low-hanging guitars just dangling from the tree after he's treated them, with lacquer or whatever he puts on it. They're just hanging.
Okay.
It's like a guitar fruit tree.
Nice.
And a couple of other bands. There's a reggae band I've been working with.
Oh, I love reggae.
Yeah, and some jazz bands. Joe Mela Jazz Unit. I keep pretty busy.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of bands in Los Angeles. Some people in them that I recorded when they were 16, 17 years old. I'm still working with them. And they just send me the tracks, and I mix them and send them back.
Good. Yeah, that brings me to Copulation. It sounds very raw, like punk rock should. And you mentioned, well, you recorded it to make it feel as if it was live, right?
Well, kind of our Doug's mandate was it wasn't our goal to make the most produced, best sounding records in the world. Doug's mandate was to ultimately try and capture the sound of the band, how they sounded like if you were in the room with them,
Sure.
And that never sounds as good as a record does. But that was our goal, was to capture the sound of the band, which was fortunate because the studio, really, we did not have a lot of outboard gear. We didn't even have echo, reverbs or anything. We had 3 bank vaults in the basement of our building that were turned into echo chambers. with a big
cool.
the theater speaker in there, and a microphone. You send the signal down, run it through the speaker, and pick it up through the microphone and bring it back up, which was great for some things. Unfortunately, it's difficult. It's so unwieldy. You can't really control it when you're, especially if you're doing something up tempo, something fast like punk rock music. It can just turn into a lot of mud because it just keeps building and building and building, and the reverb just kind of keeps building until it gets to a point where it's muddy. You got to try and control it.
Well, I haven't heard a lot of the Mystic stuff, but this album is not mud at all. It's pretty clear, most of it.
Yeah. It's a good record. I really like it. I haven't heard it in, like I said, 30, 35 years. And I was surprised at how good it sounds.
I think it's pretty obscure. If you're a real record collector or punk enthusiast, you probably know about it. But
yeah,
again,
I don't believe it's ever been re-released. I think Doug is still putting out records and stuff now, and I think that this is on the slate for being re-released, and also I believe they're working on Copulation 2.
Oh,
which is a project that I started when I was with Mystic, and
Copulation 2.
Yeah, we had
There's
Copulation 2. It was always in the works. When I left, there was a lot of projects that were started but not finished because, like I said, we were working on several records at a time. So there's always projects in various states of completion.
Doug, you should re-release The Sound of Hollywood Copulation, given that the epidemic of police violence and police murder, what has happened since the George Floyd murder, people who are unaware, say upper middle class white people who have never been harassed by a cop in their life are suddenly looking on Twitter and saying, my God, what is this? And I don't know, I think it's a good time to re-release this. I don't know what that entails, like putting it on iTunes or just doing more limited vinyl.
I think they're going to do a limited vinyl release. I still do some stuff for Doug. Occasionally I'll do mastering and help out any way I can, but I'm not really involved in the day-to-day, running of the company or anything. But I help out. I do what I can. I'm not doing any more artwork, but
right.
I am doing, I'll do, mastering, whatever they need, I can help.
He never returned my email, but
no, that's not unusual.
He's 90 years old. Let's just let him be.
Yeah. He struggles with the technology still,
Yeah. What else? The Grimm. Do you remember the Grimm?
Sure, they're still around and kicking.
Oh, okay.
They're still around. Yeah.
They have a great. It's their song on this is "Government Man," and it's like, "Government man, get a fucking life. Government man, I fucked your wife." I'm like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Government man, when are you gonna get a fucking life?
So, but again, Sado Nation is the band from Portland, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I noticed that because they have, it's really a male-dominated scene like everything is in our culture, but there's a human female singing for them.
Yeah, Mish.
Okay.
Great singer, yeah.
I wonder if she's still around Portland or something like that.
She is actually.
Oh.
I see her on occasion on social media, and I'm pretty sure she's still there. She was, I know she was in Ireland, I think, going to college and doing something music history related, I think.
Oh.
Remember exactly, but she's still kicking. I think she's got another band now, too, as a matter of fact.
To ask, I know we talked about our love of Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned, well, that is overproduced in a way. Like I'm not sure who their producer was, but it's all about the studio, right? For that stuff, but it's super well done. I don't know.
Yeah, all that was kind of like a defining characteristic for grunge music was just really I think the production's fantastic. I'm a mixing engineer, and to me, when I listen to a record, more than anything, I listen to fidelity and the sound quality and stuff, and try and pick it apart. How they
some
did
of the
it.
early stuff is kind of muddy. I mentioned Deep Six by CZ Records and Sub Pop 200. These are 80s grunge compilations. They all sounded kind of muddy or grungy to me. But yeah, like I'm thinking Soundgarden sounds so good. I'm a fan. I don't know if you like.
I think that quality probably started going up when they started getting some money in the coffers and started selling some where they could, use the better studios and stuff.
That gets us back to Greg Ginn. I don't know if we talked about him yet, but this is the guitarist for Black Flag, right? And his brother is Raymond Pettibone, the artist that did those great covers.
Yes.
I know that Soundgarden was on SST for one album.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and that was their first. So I was like, oh, the Seattle band is breaking out, but at least, I mean, that's still a little obscure. It's like, who knows who Husker Du is, right? Well, I do. But Greg is an interesting, I was on Facebook with him for a while, but he has some right-wing politics, and he defriended me. So that's interesting. I saw some legal trouble we don't need to go into, but he's a killer guitarist. I love his guitar work.
Yeah.
You know that Gone, which was one of his side projects, some great crunchy guitar. So
I've always liked Greg's guitar sound. Yeah,
Black Flag too. But that was his record label, and again, that's kind of, as you know, predates Sub Pop, right?
Sure.
And it happened around the same time as Mystic, I guess. I mean, Mystic was not the only.
Yeah, when we were talking yesterday, we were talking about when I was recording the Mentors first record, EP. I actually did a version of it at Media Art Recording Studio with Spot as the engineer, who was SST and Black Flag in particular sound guy. He did all their
right. So I guess Black Flag, of all the bands on the Copulation album, was the one to break out.
Right. They didn't break out by any means by being on the Copulation record. They were pretty much broken.
I guess they had some great marketing where they really went wild with the posters, and they had great artwork. But I guess there's a story. They had to put up 500 posters for every show. Just
really,
you got to hustle out there.
Yeah. That takes a little more work than just clicking some buttons and, marketing on social media, and I really miss that, like, back in the day where there's actually a community where you go to a record store, talk to people, and people be handing out flyers at every show, standing out front. Marketing is not just social media. There's more to it than that. Yeah,
you got to have the street cred, and of course you can't purchase that. So.
No, you gotta earn that.
Wow, Cops Are Criminals, America's Hardcore. That was like, they lasted only a couple years, right?
Yeah, but they had a pretty heavy, strong following. I hear people talking about them all the time.
Cops Are Criminals.
That Black Flag song, Police Story, that wasn't Henry Rollins at that time, was it? That was before. So he wasn't in there in Mystic recording.
No.
Other than Il Duce, the wild man, any other characters stand out from any of these bands, or is it all just a blur of like skate punks in and out?
Yeah, it got to be pretty much of a blur. I mean, we're doing, in the studio, we'd be doing, sometimes 2-3 bands a day, which, bring them in, set them up, record the songs, tear them down, the next one comes in. I mean, it was just like an endless parade of bands coming through.
And you produce full LPs too, right? So you'd have someone book the studio for a couple days, or how long would that take?
Various lengths of time. I mean, I did RKL Keep Laughing album. I think I recorded the album in 2 days and mixed it in 1 day.
Right.
Because there was a tight schedule. They were going on tour, and you wanted to get the records out for them when they were when they were on tour, so it was a very tight schedule. And just one of those things that happily worked out well. I really liked that record. I really liked the way it sounded, and I'm happy to work on it. And yeah, that's a great record, one of my favorites. And sometimes it happens; it just goes fast. And other times, you're flailing many days trying to get something to work.
Yeah, if the song is only 50 seconds long, then
Yeah,
it's just I hate cops, I hate cops, I hate cops. My kids are upstairs, like I don't know if they've even seen a vinyl record.
right.
They're on their magical computer phones, whatever,
Yeah.
doing incredible. I remember I was an early adopter of the Apple Macintosh, and I thought I was so cool because I knew Adobe Photoshop, and now my kids are doing the same thing with the click of a mouse on there, just for fun. It's like, oh, I've become obsolete.
I know the feeling.
I want to ask you about the Stains. Do you remember them or?
Yeah, there was a band called the Stains from Los Angeles. There's also there's a band on compilation called it's just Stain. The Stain. It's two different bands.
Oh, okay, that's why I got confused. Yeah.
Yeah. The Stain that is on the compilation record, I think. Well, they're from somewhere. Gosh, I'm not sure. I think like Ohio or something like that.
Oh, okay. Again, I think when the movie Repo Man came out, and again, that was my first exposure to punk rock as a person living in a small town in the South. Did that change anything when the Repo Man movie and soundtrack came out, or
didn't change anything for me or us? I don't think. But that was definitely a good ride. That came out in
I think 84, 83, 84.
Was it that late? That early?
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah. Tommy Chong as the stoner hippie dad of the punk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Method acting. Gosh, what else is there? You like Soundgarden. We both like Alice in Chains. I really lost track of the Seattle music scene after, about the late 90s. But a lot of stuff has happened since then, a lot of successful bands. And
yeah, that's kind of a weird music scene up here. I know in Olympia, especially. 4th Street, downtown Olympia has got, I don't know, like 10 bars or something that have beautiful stages with sound systems, and nobody ever plays there. The only shows that I see around here is like at people's homes.
Right.
I guess because, there's an age, you have to be 21 and over to get into a bar. But I mean, if any of these clubs were in Los Angeles, they'd be packed.
Yeah. Well, because of the pandemic, maybe not, but in general, yeah.
Yeah.
That's odd. Yeah, the 21 and over thing, that cuts out 90% of your audience for the punk.
Yeah, it does.
So that's sad. I mean, you'd think there'd be some all ages something going, but I don't know. Again, the music industry has been killed by this fucking pandemic, or at least, it's like, you can't sell records anymore, but you can perform, right? That's how we're going to have to make your money, even the big stars. And then suddenly you can't even do that. It's nuts.
Yeah.
But that'll come back eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that. I mean, even I do sound for films and stuff too, and there's nothing going on at all. Films,
no film production going on.
So
right,
just kind of all just stopped.
Well, it'll start up again, but it's gonna get ugly before it gets better. We'll see. Yeah. What else? I don't know. I think we've covered. Copulation. What was the Sound of Hollywood? How many of those were there?
I think actually got up to 4 or 5. It was supposed to be like a big 20 record set or something. When I first met Doug, that was his project. He wanted to do the Sound of Hollywood. He wanted to record every band in Hollywood, do the Sound of Hollywood, and do 1 through 20 and just record every band. And it somewhere along the line, it kind of veered off from that. We just got into making, just playing compilation records, thematic compilation records. You do that, but there was the Sound of Hollywood Girls.
Right, right. Okay, girl, should do a whole episode about that one.
Yeah.
Again, girls on the music scene, it's a rare thing. I haven't heard that. I bet that's on YouTube too. I'll have to check.
Probably. And then there was another one called Destroy LA, which was like We Got Power,
Right.
in that it was a compilation done in conjunction with a fanzine, and the idea was to put out a compilation. The person who ran the fanzine would choose the bands and
Okay.
do the artwork, and we put a copy of the fanzine in with the record and kind of co-market, a little synergy going and do that. But Sound of Destroy LA was actually a really good record. It's got Bad Religion on it. It's got a lot of really, really great bands. I think it's one of the best compilations on Mystic. And it has the worst cover that's ever been put on a record.
Okay. Did you design that?
Yeah. Well, what happened was the guy who ran the compilation, I don't remember his name, was going to bring in the artwork and we'd send it off, and it was running late, and we should have had it, several weeks before when we actually got it. When he brought it in, it was beautiful. It was a picture of the Capitol Records building from, I think,
Sure. The circular
movie Earthquake or something like that.
Uh-huh.
It was a still from that movie where, Capitol Records building is tumbling over, and it was a beautiful concept, beautiful art. Couldn't use it without getting sued, by the Universal Studios and Capitol Records and all that stuff. So I had literally one night to put together a record because we had time. We had time booked at the printing plant for the we had reservations at the printing plant for the stuff to come in. So I just slapped together what I could. It's just yellow.
Now you have to live with it forever and ever.
Fun. Yeah.
That's why the Sub Pop guys also did the thing where they would publish a zine and do that in conjunction with the music. So again, it's part of the whole punk culture that they absorbed.
Yeah.
I know that Tad, Tad, the grunge guy.
No.
They had really bad luck with album covers at Sub Pop. One was they found a picture of some hillbillies or something at a garage sale and stuck that on the cover, and someone noticed and they're like, "Hey, that's Dale." So they had to pull that. And then the other was the Jack Pepsi album, or maybe it was an EP. It had artwork by Peter Bagg, the cartoonist, and then they got in trouble with Pepsi for that one. So.
Oh man, yeah, you can. There's still copyrights. There's still,
You'd think if you're modifying a picture of the Capitol Records building, making it be blown up, that would be fair use. But again, that's not going to stop them from fucking with you, I guess.
I mean, if you're one band putting out one record, it doesn't matter. You just do it, and whatever happens, and whatever. But if you're,
if you're a label,
and you've got a lot of records, a lot of things going on and stuff. You stand a lot to lose, with a legal battle like that. It's just something we didn't want to get into at the time of that record.
Since this is a crime podcast, supposedly, didn't you mention Doug Moody has some mafia connections, or got in some? And I'm guessing anyone in the record business in the 50s had these connections. But is there anything you could?
Well, I mean, Doug wasn't in the mafia or attached to the mafia in any way, but I know he had some run-ins with them. I mean, he was vice president of Mercury Records twice.
Okay.
He ran some pretty big companies, some major labels and stuff back in the day. And I just heard stories that I can't really get into.
Sure. So yeah, there's a lot of crime in the record business. I think it's been cleaned up somewhat, but no one is bribing DJs with cocaine or anything anymore.
No, I don't think that goes on these days. I mean,
what else? Oh, our fans want to know about Guns N' Roses. You said you engineered a song with them, and I like their music, but they're also dicks. So
I recorded a demo tape for I was just like,
You think that was their
pretty
first
sure
demo, or
their first recordings as Guns N'
Right.
Roses as a band.
right?
A cat named Randy Morris, who was in a band called Black Randy and the Metro Squad, had a label called Danger House Records, and I don't know that he was going to put out the record, but he brought the band in to record.
Sure.
We didn't get along that well.
They behaved badly, as is the practice.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't want to get into too much public airwaves and stuff, but yeah, it was not wasn't good.
Oh, you must know a podcast means you can use profanity. People want to hear about cops and hating cops. Any personal feelings about cops, or do you want to keep that to yourself? You ever been beaten on by cops?
No, I never have.
You must know people.
That's like that scene from Barfly. He says, "It's not that I hate cops. It's just that I just feel better when they're not around."
Yeah.
And that's about how I feel.
I imagine that Bukowski might have wandered by your studio one day on the way to one of those great LA dive bars.
Frolic Room or one of those places. Yeah, I'm sure he has.
All right, Phil. Well, I think we're good here. And I appreciate you talking about copulation.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for your interest.
Digging you up was a thrill. It was like, oh, this guy, I might not have bothered you, but then I'm like, oh, he lives in Olympia. That's good enough for me to call him.
Yes. That's great talking to you, man. Thank you.
Do you have a website where people can go if they need music produced?
I do. Philcoraves.com.
Philcoraves.com. Okay.
Yeah. PHILCORAVES.
Yeah.
And yeah, look me up there.
Great. All right, my brother.
Cool, man.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Busted for nothing because nothing was wrong.
Wow, what a thrill ride. Incredible. You have been listening to the Doomed Planet podcast. This has been episode 36, Copulation, punk bands hating on cops. If you want more damn information, you can go to doomedplanet.com. Goodbye.
But